She stands in her small living room. It is late night. The window is half open. The street outside is quiet. A fan turns slow. The lamp on the table gives a warm light. Boxes sit in a corner. A chair is not straight. A cup of tea is cold now. She breathes out. She is tired, but her mind is awake. Then, 3 hard knocks on the door. She freezes. The fan keeps turning. Her eyes move to the door. Another knock, louder this time. She looks at the time on her phone. It is past midnight. She's not expecting anyone. She holds her breath and listens. A voice calls from the other side. Open the door. She does not answer. She walks slowly to the door and stands close, but not too close. She asks in a small voice, "Who is it?" Silence for a moment. Then the voice again, firm. "Police. Open the door." Her heart beats fast. She looks around the room. The boxes. The chair, the cup. Everything looks normal, but now it feels wrong. Red and blue light begins to glow on the wall, slow at first, then stronger, as if a distant siren is moving closer. She steps back from the door. "Do you have a warrant?" she asks. Her voice shakes a little. "Open the door," the voice repeats. "We need to speak with you," she thinks. She tries to remember what to do. She sets her phone to record and slips it into her pocket. She turns the lock halfway, then stops. She puts her eye to the peephole. 2 dark shapes stand in the hall. She sees the edge of a jacket, a radio on a shoulder, a hand near a belt. The light outside flashes red and blue again, painting the small circle of glass. Her throat is dry. "Please show me the paper," she says. A page lifts up to the peephole, but it is too close. The letters blur. She only sees a line of numbers and a name. The paper moves back a little. She reads as much as she can. The name looks like hers. The address looks like hers. But one part is not clear. A code, a number. The second digit looks smudged. She swallows. "The code is not clear," she says. "Can you show it again?" The page moves away. A second voice speaks now. It is calmer. "Ma'am, we will explain. Please open the door." She closes her eyes for a moment. She thinks of her mother. She thinks of tomorrow. She thinks of the text she got yesterday from an unknown number. "Is this your address?" She told herself it was spam. Now the words return and sit heavy in her mind. She opens the door chain but keeps the lock. The door opens a few inches. Cool air slides in. The hallway smells like dust and someone's cooking. She sees them clearly now. 2 officers. One older, face tight, jaw set. One younger, eyes alert but unsure. Their jackets are dark. No real logo is clear, just a generic patch. The older officer holds the paper. The younger holds a small notebook. "Are you her name?" The older one asks. She nods once. "Yes, we have an order," he says. He taps the paper with one finger. "We need to come in. What is the reason?" She asks. She keeps her voice steady. Her hand shakes on the door edge, but she hides it. The older officer looks at the paper again. "You are a person of interest in a tax investigation," he says. "We need to ask questions." Her mouth opens, then closes. "A tax investigation?" She pays her small bills on time. She keeps her receipts in a shoebox. She looks at the boxes in the corner. She thinks of the old letters the landlord gave her when she moved in. Mail for the previous tenant. She did not throw them away yet. "May I read the paper?" she asks. The older officer folds the page. "We will explain inside," he says. His eyes do not move from hers. The younger officer glances at the older one, then at her. "Please," the younger says softly. "We won't touch anything without reason." A red glow washes over the hallway again. The siren outside is still, but the lights keep spinning. She looks down the hall and sees a neighbor's door open a crack. A small eye watches, then disappears. The neighbor's door closes. She takes a slow breath. She pulls the door wider and steps back. The officers enter. Their boots make a dull sound on the floor. The older one stands near the table. The younger one looks around the room, then at the boxes. The older officer sets the paper down and opens it. "Please stand here," he says, pointing at a spot near the center of the room. She obeys. She keeps her hands where they can see them. Her phone records in her pocket. The lamplight makes a ring on the table. The fan keeps turning, slow, slow, slow. The older officer begins to read. He says her full name again. He says the address. He says the code. It sounds like 17B46. She watches his mouth. She looks at the paper. The printed code looks like 17846. The second character is not clear. It could be a B, it could be an 8. The ink looks blurred, as if wet and dried fast. The code is not clear. She says again, "Is it B or 8? The older officer does not answer. He looks at the younger one and gives a small nod. The younger officer walks to the boxes. "What is in these?" He asks. "Books," she says. "Old letters from the last renter. Some receipts." "Open them, please." She kneels and opens the top box. Books lean against each other. A notebook slides and falls. The older officer steps closer. The younger officer looks over her shoulder. She moves the books aside and pulls up a stack of envelopes. Dust rises. The air feels heavy. She coughs once. The older officer points. "What are those?" "Old mail," she says. "Not mine." "Whose?" the younger asks. She flips one envelope over. The name is almost like hers. One letter is different. The street is the same. The apartment number is the same. Her hands stop. She feels a small cold line move up her back. The older officer takes the envelope and compares the name to the paper. He frowns. He compares again. He looks at the code. He presses his lips together. "We need to check something," the younger officer says. He takes out a small device and taps on it. His eyes move fast. He looks from the screen to the paper, then to her, then back to the screen. "Look," she says. Her voice is calm now, but firm. She points to the code on the paper. "Please read it again. Is it B or 8? The older officer says nothing. He takes out a small light and shines it on the page. The ink glows a little. The line is smudged. The light makes it worse, not better. He turns the page. He breathes out slow. Outside, the siren light rolls across the window again. Red, blue, red, blue. Inside, the fan keeps turning. The envelopes sit open on the floor. The old name stares up like a quiet warning. The younger officer stops tapping and looks at her with new eyes. The room is silent for a long second. Then the older officer speaks, low. "Place your hands in front," he says. "We have to follow the order." Her chest tightens. She lifts her hands. Cold metal touches her skin. The handcuffs close with a click. The sound is small, but it fills the whole room. She looks at the paper one more time. The smudge does not move. The younger officer watches her face. He looks at the code again. Something in his expression changes. A question rises there, sharp and bright, but he does not say it yet. She stands very still. She feels the cuffs. She feels the light on her skin. She feels the whole night hold its breath. And somewhere inside the paper, a wrong line waits to be seen. Morning light enters her small room. It is soft and warm. The window is open a little. The curtain moves like slow breath. She feels calm. She likes mornings. Mornings feel clean. She makes tea and writes a short list. Laundry, study, call mom, buy bread. Simple things, safe things. She hums a tune and waters a small plant on the sill. The plant leans toward the sun like it knows something good is coming. Her phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. "Is this your address?" No name, no hello. She frowns, types, "Who is this?" and waits, no answer. She blocks the number and puts the phone face down. The tea tastes a little bitter now, but she tells herself it is nothing. Spam exists. She will not let it ruin a good morning. She opens her door to take out the trash. A brown package sits by the mat. The label shows her apartment number, but the name is not hers. It is one letter different. She remembers the last tenant and all those old letters in her box. She lifts the package. It is not heavy, but it feels important. She carries it inside and places it on the table. She writes a sticky note. "Return to landlord." Her phone rings. "Private number." She answers. A polite voice speaks fast. "Hello. We are confirming your residence for a file review. Please confirm address." She stays quiet for a second. "What office is this?" she asks. "Verification," the voice says. "Just confirm. What file?" she asks. Silence, then the line disconnects. She stares at the screen. Call ended. No name, no detail. She sets the phone down and breathes out slow. The plant shakes a little in the breeze. She decides to go buy bread before study. The hallway smells like dust and old paint. On the stairs, the post lady is sorting envelopes. "Anything for 2B?" she asks. The post lady checks. "Not today," she says, then adds, "But the system sends me 2-8 sometimes. Or 2B, people write fast. Machines read wrong." "Machines read wrong," she repeats. "Every week," the post lady smiles. "You would be surprised how often a B becomes an 8. She laughs with her, but the words stay in her head. B becomes 8. Small changes, big trouble. Outside, the street is bright. A silver car sits near the corner. The driver is inside. He looks down at a phone. The car does not move. She thinks nothing of it and walks to the shop. The cashier gives her bread and a small joke. "You look like you need sunshine," he says. She smiles. "I already have some." On the way back, a flyer on a wall catches her eye. Free tax help. Walk in. There is a tiny faded stamp in the corner. It might be 3 letters, FBR, but the ink is blurred. She takes a photo and zooms in. The letters refuse to become clear. She shrugs and keeps moving. Near her building, an old man from next door carries a bag of rice. "New girl in 3B?" he asks. "2B, she says. "Ah." He nods, then squints like he is remembering. Thought the other girl was still there. "What other girl?" He waves a hand. "Similar name," he says. "Maybe I'm wrong." He walks away slowly, rice bag against his chest. Back home, she washes her cup and opens her laptop. She logs into her bank to pay a small bill. The page spins, then flashes an error. Account temporarily unavailable. Her chest tightens. She tries again. It works now. Balance is fine. She pays the bill. She tells herself, glitch. Only a glitch. But the first red line is still running in her mind like a thin crack on glass. She studies for an hour. The sun moves across the floor. The plant drinks light. She feels better. She moves the brown package to the door, so she will remember to give it to the landlord. As she lifts it, something slides inside the box and makes a soft click. She pauses. Maybe it is just a loose cap or a toy. She places the package down gently and presses the sticky note harder. Return. A shadow passes under her door, then stops. Someone stands outside a moment, then walks on. She listens. Footsteps fade. From the window, she can see the silver car again at the corner. Same spot, same stillness. The driver looks at the phone, not the road. Her phone lights with another unknown message. "You have a file. Confirm identity." There is a link she does not click. She takes a screenshot and deletes it. She turns off location for all apps. She speaks to herself softly. Stay smart. Stay calm. Afternoon becomes evening. She brings the package to the landlord. He pushes his glasses up and reads the label. "Yes," he says. "This is the last tenant. Same apartment. Name is close to yours. She left in a hurry." He stamps the box in red. "Return to sender." The letters are strong and clear. He hands the box back. "Drop it in the bin tomorrow." The drop box is closed now. She carries the package upstairs and sets it by the door again. The red stamp faces the room like a warning. Her phone rings once more. "Unknown number." She almost lets it ring out, then answers. A different voice, softer. "Ma'am, quick question. Is your door number 2B or 28? She closes her eyes. "There is no 28 on my floor." "Right," the voice says. "Thank you." The line clicks off. She stands very still. The apartment is quiet. The fan turns. The clock ticks. The plant is a small green flag of life. She looks at the brown package and at the photo of the blurred stamp on the flyer. She thinks of the post lady saying B becomes 8. She thinks of the bank error that came and went like a fast shadow. A soft knock comes from somewhere in the building, not at her door. Another door, then footsteps. A door opens. A short talk. A door closes. She feels safe again for a breath. Dusk comes like gray water. She makes rice and egg, simple dinner. She eats by the lamp. The light hums. The plant leans into the final light of day and sleeps. The power blinks once. The lamp flickers. The fan stutters. Everything returns. She listens to the quiet and puts her plate in the sink. She rinses it. The water runs clear, then she hears it. A tiny digital beep from near the door. She turns. The brown package sits still. She steps closer and waits. No second beep. Only her breathing. Maybe a battery inside, maybe nothing. She kneels and studies the red stamp. Return to sender. Under the red ink, the old label shows a faint code through the paper. It is only a piece of a number, like a ghost of a number. In this light, it looks like 17B. When the lamp shifts, it looks like 178. The line is thin. The difference is small. Her skin prickles. Her phone vibrates on the table. A final text from a third unknown number. Be at home tonight. She does not reply. She locks the door. She sets her phone to record. She checks the chain twice. The plant stands tall in the last light. On the street below, the silver car is gone. A dark car waits where it had been. No engine, no movement. Just the shape of it like a held breath. She tells herself, tomorrow will be normal again. She closes the curtains and lets the room go quiet. Night arrives. It looks gentle. It is not. The door is open now. The two officers stand inside her small room. Their jackets are dark. Their boots are heavy. The older one keeps his jaw tight. The younger one watches everything like a student who wants to get it right but fears a wrong answer. The lamp throws a warm circle on the table. Outside, a faint red and blue glow slides across the window and then disappears. The fan turns slow, like time is tired. "Stand here," the older officer says, pointing to the middle of the room. His voice is flat. It has no edges, but it cuts anyway. She stands where he points. Her hands are in front of her, fingers open, calm. Her phone records in her pocket. Her eyes move, but her face stays still. The older officer lays a paper on the table. The paper is thin and stiff. The top has a printed header. The middle has paragraphs. The bottom has a code. The code is the center of this night. The code is a seed of fear. "Read it to her," the older officer says to the younger. The younger officer clears his throat. He reads her full name. He reads the address. He reads a line that says subject of interest and records to be examined. He reaches the code and slows down. 17B. 46, he hesitates, looks closer. Or 178. 46. She hears both numbers inside one breath. B becomes 8. 8 becomes B. Machines read wrong. People read fast. She remembers the post lady's voice. She remembers the flyer with the blurred stamp. She remembers the bank page flashing red and then normal. "The code is not clear," she says. Her words are even. "Please confirm." The older officer does not like the word, please. He bends over the page and brings out a small torch. He shines it on the code. The ink shines back, but it does not confess. It is smudged at the second mark like a tear that dried. "It says what it says," he replies. "What does it say?" she asks. He keeps the light on the paper. He does not answer. The younger officer looks at the bottom of the page again. He keeps reading the rest. Items permitted to search. Documents, digital devices, correspondence, receipts. His voice shakes a little at digital devices. He glances at her pocket, at her phone, then looks away. The body cam on his chest shows a small red dot. The dot blinks. The older officer lifts his chin. "Where are your records?" he asks. "Books, letters, bills." She points to the boxes. "There," she says. "Some are mine. Some are from the last tenant. The names are not the same." The younger officer walks to the boxes. He kneels and opens the top one. The smell of paper rises, dry and old, like a library that forgot its doors. He takes out a stack of envelopes and lays them on the floor. He sets them in 2 rows without being told to do so, left and right. "Which are yours?" he asks. She leans and points. "Right side is mine. Left side is not. See the name? 1 letter different." The older officer joins him. He picks up an envelope from the left side and reads the name. He picks up one from the right side and reads again. His jaw tightens a little more. The younger officer slides out a thin gray envelope from the left row. It is already open. Inside is a small receipt with a tax ID. He reads the number under his breath. He compares it to the paper on the table. He says nothing, but his eyebrow moves just a little. He holds the receipt near the lamp. The numbers look sharp. 1 digit has a tiny tail like a tired pen made a small mistake and then tried to act perfect. "Where did you get this?" the older officer asks. "It was in the box when I moved in," she says. "The landlord said the last tenant left fast." The older officer turns to the kitchen counter. He finds a shoebox with rubber bands around it. He opens it without asking. Inside are her neat receipts, dates written in small pencil. He pulls out one at random and puts it next to the gray receipt. 2 different worlds sit together on the table. One is hers. One is not. The difference is simple. The problem is old. A small beep sounds from near the door. All 3 heads turn. The brown package sits where she left it, near the mat. The red stamp reads, "Return to sender." The sound does not repeat. The room listens. The fan whispers, "What is in that?" The older officer asks. "It is not mine," she says. It is for the last tenant. Same apartment. Name one letter different. The landlord stamped it. I will return it tomorrow. The older officer walks to the package. He tilts it. Something slides inside and hits aside softly. He looks at the label. He looks at the red stamp. He places it back down carefully. Do not touch this, he says. It is not a warning. It is a rule he likes. He returns to the table and takes the paper with the code. He pulls a pen from his pocket and writes the code in the top margin, slow in his own hand. First he writes 17B46. Then he strikes the B and writes 17846 above it. The numbers stand on the same line like strangers sharing a bench. Which one is it? She asks. It is the code, he says. The answer is a wall. The younger officer's radio crackles. A voice asks for an update. He steps back and answers quietly near the window. His red body cam dot blinks. The older officer watches him for a second, then flips the main paper to the back. There are printed boxes there, small and square, like a form that wants to make people simple. He checks a box with a pen. Occupant present, he mutters. He checks another box. Search initiated. The younger officer returns. He does not meet her eyes. We need to continue, he says, but it sounds like he is not sure whether to say we or they. The older officer points at her bag. Phone, he says. It is recording, she says. He holds out his hand. Phone. She takes it out slowly. She looks at the screen. The timer shows minutes have been saved now. She thinks of her mother. She thinks of the plant. She thinks of small good things and holds them like stones in her palm. She passes the phone. The older officer places it on the table, screen down. The sound of glass on wood is soft but final. He opens a slim plastic pouch and takes out cable ties. He places them next to the paper like a quiet threat that needs no words. The younger officer goes back to the boxes. He finds a folder she does not recognize. It is thin, gray like the envelope. He opens it. Inside is a photocopy of a document. The photo area is white, cut out. The name field is her name with one letter different. The address is her address. The birth date is not hers. He looks up at her. His mouth opens, but the older officer is already in motion. Enough, the older officer says. He closes the folder and puts it aside. This will be resolved at the station. At the station? She repeats. Her voice is quiet. I asked for the reason. I asked for the code. The reason is in the file, he says. The file is not for debate. Her eyes move to the paper again. The code looks like a trick of light. It is two things at once. She tries to steady her breath. She hears shoes in the hallway. A neighbor's key turns and stops. She imagines the peephole across the hall glowing with a small eye. The younger officer picks up the gray receipt again and compares the tax ID to the paper. His face changes. Not fear, not relief. Something else. The first shape of doubt when it grows a spine. He leans toward the older officer. Sir, he says low, the ID, and the birth date in the system. He does not finish. His words fall and roll under the table like marbles. The older officer's jaw works once. He lifts the paper and folds it in half, then in half again. He slides it into his jacket. He picks up the cable ties. Hands, he says to her. She lifts her hands. Her fingers are steady now because the shaking is tired. The plastic bites. The sound is a dry hiss as it tightens. Not a click, a hiss. It feels worse for being quiet. The younger officer watches. His red body cam dot blinks, and then it stops. The light goes dark for a breath and returns. She sees it. He sees that she sees it. He taps the side like it was nothing. But nothing is rare tonight. The older officer steps back. We are leaving, he says. Bring the boxes. The younger officer looks at the boxes, at the brown package, at the folder with the cutout photo, at the receipt with the tired digit. He gathers the right side envelopes, hers, and sets them back gently. He takes the left side envelopes, not hers, and stacks them with care he did not show when they entered. He is building a small order inside a larger mess. It is a quiet rebellion. Sir, he tries again. The code is enough, the older officer says. The room holds its breath. The fan turns. The plant is still. From the hallway, a phone vibrates against a pocket and stops. A shoe scuffs. Someone whispers. The knight leans closer to the door like a listener. She looks once more at the table. Her phone lies face down. The paper has gone into a jacket. The cable ties hold her wrists. The brown package near the mat wears its red word like a warning. Return. Where do we go? She asks. The older officer opens the door. Downstairs, he says. The younger officer lifts the stack of wrong letters. The top envelope slides and shows the almost name again. One letter different. One digit tired. One code split in two. They step into the hall. Behind them, the lamp hums. The fan turns. In the quiet room, something small inside the brown package moves just enough to make no sound at all. The hallway smells like dust and night. The door closes behind them with a soft thud. She stands between the two officers. Her wrists are tight in the cable ties. The older officer leads. The younger follows with the stack of wrong letters pressed to his chest like a weak shield. They walk past the elevator. A yellow sign blinks, out of service. The older officer nods to the stairs. Down. On the first step, a light flickers. On the second step, it dies and returns. The stairwell turns their steps into echoes. Somewhere above, a door opens and closes. Somewhere below, a phone vibrates and stops. The building listens. They reach the landing. A metal cabinet stands against the wall. Fire hose, CCTV switch stenciled on it. The older officer moves on. The younger officer stops for a half-second and glances at the small DVR box inside through the glass slit. A red light should blink. It does not. He frowns, then follows. They pass the door for 2A. A child sticker of a star is on the wood. They pass 2C. A scratch marks the number C, so it looks like G. They pass a painted note. No parcels left here. But a parcel sits there anyway, torn, label wet. It reads 2A8 in a hurried hand. There is no 2-8. She slows and looks. The younger officer notices. He reads the label, too. His jaw moves like he is solving a math problem in the dark. Keep moving, the older officer says without turning. They descend again. On the next landing, the landlord waits with a ring of keys. He is in slippers and a sweater. His glasses are fogged at the edges. He nods at the officers, then at her. He tries to smile, but it breaks halfway. Basement storage is ready, he says to the older officer. You asked to see units. When did I ask? The older officer replies. The landlord blinks. Your colleague called. Said you need the locker logs. I came. The older officer's face does not change. Good, he says as if he planned this. Open. They reach the basement. The air is colder. Pipes run across the ceiling like ribs. A single light buzzes. The landlord opens a door marked storage. Inside, wire cages form small rooms with locks. Each door has a tag, 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B. The tag for 2B is crooked. It has a scratch that turns B into 8 if you tilt your head. The older officer does not tilt. The younger officer does, just a little. His face tightens. The landlord hands a ledger to the older officer. Sign in and sign out. Tenants and management. All clean, he says, nervous. The older officer thumbs through it. Names, dates, initials. The pages smell like old paper and cheap ink. He stops at a month from last year. 2 entries sit close, 2B, key issued, and 2-8, key issued. Same day, same initials. The older officer's finger rests on the initials. MR. Who is MR? He asks. The landlord clears his throat. My assistant last year. He left. He wrote fast. He made short forms. Short forms. The younger officer repeats. His voice is flat, like a line on a monitor. He looks at the 2B cage. He looks at the 2-8 note. He looks at her. Open 2B, the older officer says. The landlord fumbles keys, unlocks the cage. Inside, a broken chair, a box of old winter clothes, a suitcase with a torn handle. Dust rises. The older officer pokes the suitcase with his boot, then opens it. Inside are letters with the almost name, rubber banded together, and a thin folder with a cutout photo space. The younger officer takes the folder and slides out the top page. The birth date is not hers. The address is hers. The tax ID looks like the number on the gray receipt. One digit has that little tired tail again. Who owns this? The older officer asks, though the answer sits on the page like a stone. The landlord rubs his forehead. She did, he says, pointing to the almost name. The previous tenant. She used the basement. She left in a rush. She said her file was sorted. She laughed like that was a joke. The older officer closes the suitcase. He looks at her. You have access? He asks. I do not, she says. Her voice is firm. I did not even know this was here. The landlord lifts both hands. I gave her no key, he says. But look, he points at the ledger. That day 2 keys were signed. One line 2B, one line 2 to 8. We have no 2-8. Maybe, he swallows. Maybe we gave 2 keys for the same door. The younger officer flips back a page. There is a small coffee stain where the initials sit. The stain turns B into 8 if you look fast. He takes out his phone and snaps a photo of the ledger. He does it quick, like it might run away. A clank sounds from the far end of the basement. Metal on concrete, not loud, sharp. The older officer's hand moves to his belt out of habit. The younger officer turns his head. A long hallway runs past the storage room to the boiler and meter area. The light there is dim and yellow. Something shifts in shadow, then goes still. Anyone else here? The older officer asks. The landlord shakes his head. No one. Just machines. The older officer nods at the younger. Check, he says. The younger officer hesitates for half a beat, then goes. He walks slow down the hall. The red dot on his body cam blinks. It stays on this time. He disappears around a corner. The older officer stands by the ledger. He taps the initials MR with the pen. His face is stone. Assistant wrote sloppy. Post wrote sloppy. Systems read sloppy, he says. He looks at her. Sloppy is not a defense. Sloppy is the reason, she says back. He does not answer. He flips to the back page. There's a maintenance ticket stapled there for the CCTV. The note reads Cam 2B, intermittent, red light off, on. The date is last week. He reads it and puts the ledger down as if the page is hot. From the far hall, the younger officer's voice comes low. Sir, he calls. You need to see this. They move down the hall together. The landlord follows, keys clinking like nervous bells. At the corner, they turn into the meter room. It is small and crowded with boxes that feed the building power. On the wall, a printed list of apartments and meter IDs. A black marker changed something. 2B is written over 2-8 in thick strokes. Under it, a faint original number bleeds through. 17B or 178. The marker hides the second character, but not fully. The younger officer points. They corrected it by hand, he says. After months, the landlord nods fast. Old company labeled it wrong, he says. We fixed it, writing temporary, new stickers arrive next week. The older officer looks at the list for a long moment. His eyes move, small. Then he turns and opens a low cabinet under the meters. Inside are spare locks, a coil of thin rope, and a small cardboard box with the same supplier logo as the brown package upstairs. The label was torn off. The red residue of a stamp stains one flap. He closes the cabinet. He looks at the younger officer, then at her. We are still leaving, he says, as if the basement tried to change his mind and failed. A wind slips under the door and across the floor like a cold hand. Somewhere up the stairs a door opens. Footsteps start down. Slow, heavy. Not one person. 2, 3. The older officer steps into the hallway and raises his voice. Basement is occupied. Who is there? No answer. The footsteps stop for a second, then continue, lower now, slower now, softer now. The younger officer's hand flexes near his radio. The landlord steps back into the storage room like a man who wants a wall at his back. She watches the older officer's face. It does not change, but his jaw unclenches just a little. He takes out the paper from his jacket and opens it again, right there in the cold light. He reads the code to himself. The smudge looks worse under yellow. He folds the page and looks at her. Upstairs, he says. Now they move fast. The younger officer stays at her side. On the stairs, the lights flicker twice in a pattern, as if the building is trying to send a message in a language humans forgot. The older officer does not look back. The landlord locks the basement and follows with his keys like a nervous bird. They reach the ground floor. The door to the street is a rectangle of night. The older officer opens it. Cold air hits. Outside, somewhere out of view, red and blue light tests the corner and then pulls away, slow as if a car changed its mind. They step into the lobby. A single camera looks down at them. Its red light is off. It should blink. It does not. The younger officer sees it. Cam is down, he says. The older officer does not look up. It is enough, he replies. He checks the ties on her wrists, not rough, not gentle, just final. He nods at the door. Now, he says again. She looks once over her shoulder. The stairwell breathes out a last warm breath. Far below in the storage dark, the wrong letters sleep with the wrong code and the right truth waits with its mouth covered. They go out into the night. The station smells like cold air and old coffee. Fluorescent lights make everything too bright. The hallway is long, with doors that do not explain themselves. She walks between the two officers. The older one leads. The younger one walks close, holding the wrong letters like a quiet alarm. They enter a small room. A table, 3 chairs, a camera in the corner with a red light that should blink. It does not blink. It just stares. "Sit," the older officer says. She sits. Her wrists still burn from the ties. He cuts them off with a small blade. The skin is marked. She rubs her hands and hides the pain. The younger officer sets the stack of wrong letters on the table, next to a glass of water no one touches. A clock on the wall ticks too loud. The sound is slow, but it feels like it is racing her heart. The older officer opens a black folder. Inside are forms with boxes. Boxes for name. Boxes for address. Boxes for numbers that pretend to be the truth. He slides a form across to her and taps the top line. "Confirm your name. Confirm your address." She reads the form. Her name is spelled right. Her address is right. The case code is typed at the top. It looks like 17B46 on this page, clear and sharp. She looks closer. The B has a thin, dark edge around it, like someone corrected it on the screen before printing. "Is this your code?" she asks. "It is the code," the older officer says, like the code is a door and he keeps the key in his pocket. The younger officer sits and opens a station computer, a login screen. He types fast. The screen shows a search bar and a field called Hit Score. It is set to auto. He types her name. The system suggests 2 results. One is her, one is the almost name. The younger officer's face changes in a small way only she notices. "Which one did you click before?" she asks him. He does not answer. He clicks her name now. The screen opens a profile. Her photo, her address, her phone. A green check next to ID verified. Underneath, a gray box. Link, similar records. He clicks it. The system shows the almost name with a yellow flag, high similarity, low certainty. The older officer keeps his pen ready. "Let's begin," he says. "Do you know the person with this name?" He mispronounces the almost name by 1 letter, as if the mistake wants to be part of his mouth. "No," she says. "Have you received documents for this person?" "Yes." "Old mail. Basement had more, I told you." "Do you know her tax ID?" "No." He watches her face for a lie that is not there. He writes something in the margin anyway. She watches the camera in the corner. It does not blink. The red light is a dead star. The younger officer opens the link page again. 2 dates appear. One is her birth date. One is the other woman's birth date. The years are not the same. The months are not the same. The system shows a thin line between them anyway, like it likes to connect people who should not be connected. He clicks a button. Unlink suggestion. A warning pops. Supervisor approval required. The older officer turns a second form around. List your income. List your side work. List cash you keep. "I have nothing to hide," she says. "Answer the boxes," he says. She answers, simple, slow, careful. The older officer watches her pen like it is a weapon. The younger officer watches the screen like it is a mirror. A new tab opens on his computer. Warrant registry. The code field at the top says 17846 this time, typed clear. The younger officer blinks. He toggles a view that shows the request history. 2 entries appear. B46, created by user MR. 17846, auto-generated from 17B46 by OCR fix. His mouth goes dry. MR again, the same initials in the landlord's ledger. The letters lean into the room like cold breath. He prints the history page and slides it half under the wrong letters, as if hiding a snake under paper. The older officer asks questions in the same order used 1,000 times. "Where were you?" Last night, who can confirm? Did anyone visit? He asks them like the answers are already written and she just needs to read them out loud. Why am I here? She asks softly. He taps the black folder. Because of this, he says. What is this? She asks. Information, he says. Information can be wrong, she says. He does not smile. It can, he says, but it isn't. The younger officer keeps clicking. He opens notes on the almost name. A caseworker left a line last month. Quick match for speed. Full check pending. The word pending is gray and small. Next to it is a deadline field that is empty. He scrolls down. Addresses. Her address shows under the other woman's profile with a tag. Recent forward. Unconfirmed. He clicks the tag. It traces back to a scan of a torn label. The image loads. It is the label from a brown package. The last two characters of the apartment code are blurred. If you squint, it could be 2B. If you relax, it looks like 28. His finger stops on the trackpad. The older officer notices the pause. Problem? He asks. No, the younger says. He swallows. Just slow. The older officer stands. He takes her phone from an evidence pouch and sets it face down again, like he is putting a lid on a quiet pot. He leans on his hands. Two choices, he says in a low voice. You help us fast, or we make this slow. Slow is not good for you. She looks at her red wrists, then at the dead blinking camera. I will help with the truth, she says. Only the truth stays. The clock ticks hard. Somewhere in the station, a door slams and a laugh follows it. Too loud for this room. The younger officer prints the hit score screen. The number is 72%. Below it, a small tooltip says, Auto, favors speed over precision. Manual review advised for mixed identifiers. He prints that too. The printer makes a soft grinding sound like a tired animal. He arranges the prints. Warrant history with MR and OCR fix. Hit score tooltip. Similar records link with high similarity, low certainty. The scanned label from the brown package with the blurred 2B28 code. He reaches for a stapler, then stops. If he staples, it becomes a piece of the black folder. If he leaves it loose, it can be swept away. He slides the papers under the wrong letters instead. The letters hide the danger, but keep it near. The older officer asks the same questions again, just in a new order, hunting for a misstep. Cash jobs? Transfers to your account? Who sent them? She shakes her head. I babysit sometimes. I sell old clothes online. The payments are small. You can see. We will see, he says, like the seeing is a threat. A soft buzz comes from his radio. A voice asks for an update. He answers with a few words that could mean anything. He sits again and writes non-cooperative in the margin, though her answers are clear. The word looks proud in ink. The younger officer's body cam red dot flickers. On, off, on. His eyes rise to the dead blinking ceiling camera. He thinks of the basement DVR with no light. He thinks of the lobby camera with no blink. He thinks of the maintenance ticket for cam 2B, intermittent. He thinks of the meter list with 2B written over 28. He thinks of the initials MR across places where truth should be. He stands. I need the supervisor, he says. The older officer's head tilts. Not yet, he says. Finish the form. The younger officer meets her eyes for the first time in hours. It is only a second, but it is full. There is a message there without words. Hold on. He leaves the room. The door closes. The older officer keeps his pen moving. Why did you receive packages for a stranger? He asks. I did not ask for them, she says. The system mixed our names. He writes anyway. Receives packages. Unknown source. Why did you keep old mail? Because I plan to return it, she says. Because I am careful. He writes. Keep mail. Possible concealment. She looks at the camera again. Is this recording? She asks. He lifts one eyebrow. Of course, he says. Then let it record this, she says. Ask your computer what pending means. Ask it why speed is more important than a person. He presses his lips together. He is a man who does not like to be taught. The clock ticks. The light hums. The water does not move in the glass. The door opens. The younger officer returns. His face is pale, then steady. Behind him, a senior steps in. He is calm in a way that comes from too many nights. He carries no folder. He looks at the prints half hidden under the wrong letters. He slides them out with 2 fingers and reads each one once, slow. He does not speak for a long time. The older officer says, "We were in the middle." The senior lifts the page with M, R, and OCR fix. He taps the initials with a pen he did not take out. "Who entered this?" he asks. The room feels like it is holding a match near dry leaves. No one answers. The senior turns the page to the hit score tooltip. He reads the small words no one respects until they burn. He looks at the yellow flag, high similarity, low certainty. He looks at the blurred 2B28 label. He looks at her wrists. He looks at the camera that does not blink. Then he says very quietly, to no one, and to everyone, "We are going to slow down." The older officer's pen stops. The clock does not. The red light in the corner comes alive for 1 second, blinks, and dies again. The senior sits. His voice is soft and flat, but it has weight. "We will read every line," he says. "We will read the code, and we will read it twice." The room takes a breath it did not know it was holding. Outside the door, the station hums. Inside, the truth begins to crawl out from under the wrong letters, one thin page at a time. ChatGPT can make mistakes. OpenAI doesn't use Kaleem Ullah's workspace. The senior sits. He does not rush. He spreads the papers like cards in a slow game. Warrant history. Hit score note. Similar records flag. The torn label from the brown package. He reads every line twice. The room is very quiet. "Turn the camera on," he says. "It is on." The older officer answers. The senior looks up at the red light in the corner. It is dark, he says nothing. He takes out a small portable recorder and sets it on the table. A soft beep. A blue light glows. "This will do," he says. He faces her. "You will speak. Simple, clear. Start with the package." She nods. "The package is not mine. The name is 1 letter different. It was left at my door." The landlord stamped return to sender. Under the stamp, a code shows through in faint ink. It looks like 2B in some light. It looks like 28 in other light. The senior turns to the younger officer. "Show the scan." The younger officer opens the file and turns the screen. The torn label fills the monitor. The senior leans close. He angles the screen. He moves it left and right so the room lights change the image. He watches the numbers shift like a small trick. He exhales through his nose, slow. He takes the warrant history print and taps the initials MR. "This user," he says, "made the first entry with 17B46. Then the system fixed it to 17846 by OCR. The second code was used to push a faster match." The older officer folds his arms. "Still a match," he says. The senior lifts his eyes. "A match is not the truth," he says. "A match is only a guess that got loud." He picks up the hit score page. "Auto favors speed," he reads. "Manual review advised." He looks at the older officer. "Why was manual review not done?" Silence, the clock ticks. Somewhere down the hall, a copier warms and sighs. The younger officer says it careful. "Because we were told to clear backlog this week. To push the fast path. To trust the auto." The senior nods once like he knew this but wanted someone else to say it. He takes a pen and writes 1 line on a blank sheet. "Speed is not a defense." He turns to the computer again. "Open the access log," he says. The younger officer brings up the log. Timestamps, usernames, actions. A pattern shows. MR appears last month, late nights, many entries, many quick matches, many pending, full check. The senior points. "Here," he says. "This record. 2 names, similar, different birth dates, same address added recently. Source label scan." The older officer shifts in his chair. "We saw the address. We followed the address." The senior's voice stays calm. You followed a shadow, he says. Not a person. He turns to her. Do you know this other woman? No, she says. Only the letters left behind. The senior writes no relation. Letters from prior tenant. He underlines prior. He stands. We check the building site, he says. Now. They leave the room and walk to a small tech closet by the hall. A young tech sits at a desk with 3 monitors. The senior shows his card. Pull cam lobby and cam stair 2 from tonight, he says. And the body cam feed for these 2 officers. The tech types fast. He opens a grid. Empty rectangles with time bars. The bars are broken. Lobby cam is intermittent, he says. Red light off on. Stair cam, same. Body cam 1 is solid. Body cam 2 has drops. Of course, the older officer mutters. The senior does not look at him. Roll from 2350, he says. The tech rolls. The lobby shows her door. The picture jumps, skips, returns. In the frame, a brown package sits by the mat. A shadow crosses. The picture drops. The picture returns. The package tilts. The picture drops again. Roll the body cam, the senior says. The younger officer's feed appears. Hallway. The knock. The paper, the code. The smudge. The senior watches the moment when the younger officer reads 17 or 8. He pauses. He rewinds. He slows it. The sound is clear. It is all there. Now roll the other body cam, the senior says. The older officer's feed opens. The same moment is there, but the audio jumps. The words are cut. It sounds clean. 17B46, no doubt. No hesitation. The senior taps the screen with one finger. Drop, he says. Noted. He asks the tech, when was MR last in this system? The tech checks a separate screen. He left last month, he says. Access closed. But his template for quick match stayed. People still use it. People, the senior repeats like a tired teacher. He returns to the small room and sits again. He places his portable recorder closer to her and clicks a marker on it. He looks at the older officer. Where did you get the station copy with a clean B? He asks. The older officer keeps his voice flat. Print queue, he says. The typed version. The senior's jaw moves once. Typed over a smudge is still a smudge, he says. You do not repair truth by pressing harder. He turns the recorder towards her again. We will confirm your bank login issue from today, he says. We will confirm the calls you received. We will confirm the post-lady note and the landlord ledger. He nods to the younger officer. Call the landlord. Put him on speaker. The call connects. The landlord answers, nervous. He confirms the ledger. The 2 keys on the same day, the initials MR for the assistant who wrote fast. He confirms the meter list with 2B written over 28. He confirms the basement suitcase with letters that match the almost name. The senior thanks him and ends the call. He writes 3 words, converging small errors. Then he writes a 4th. Result, harm. He looks at her wrists. The red marks seem louder now that the room is quiet. He opens a drawer and takes out a small first aid packet. He slides it to her. For later, he says. The older officer says, stiff. Are we done? No, the senior says. He types one command into the computer. Unlink request, escalate. The screen asks for reason. He writes, false merge risk. Mixed identifiers. Address from unverified label. He hits submit. The system replies pending supervisor final. He looks at the younger officer. Bring the folder from records, he says. Original intake for the other name. The younger officer goes and returns with a thin file. The senior opens it. The first page has a small sticky note with the initials MR and 1 line. Quick match okay, full check pending. No signature. No second eyes. He lays the sticky next to the warrant history with the same initials. He does not have to say anything. The paper speaks. He closes the file. He turns to her. Stand, he says. She stands. Her legs feel like they do not belong to her. The senior takes out a small cutter and slices the evidence tie on her phone. He places the phone in her hands. Then he looks at the older officer's pocket, where the cable ties came from before. No more, he says. It is not loud. It does not need to be. The older officer's face stays stone, but the stone has a crack now. He sits back silent. The senior's voice is steady. You are no longer in custody, he says. You will sign a short statement as witness to a process error. We will escort you home. Then we will fix the link. We will audit the template. We will pull every quick match with these initials. She swallows. And the other woman? She asks. We will look for her, he says. But we will look with proof, not with a guess. The younger officer speaks soft. I am sorry, he says. The words look strange in the air, like they came from a place that is not used often. The senior nods once at him, not unkind. Learn, he says. Then teach. He turns the portable recorder toward the table. Final note, he says into it. The truth they tried to hide is simple, a shortcut. A smudge turned into a code. A beat turned into an 8. A label turned into an address. A target turned into a person. We will not do that again. He clicks stop. The blue light goes dark. The room exhales. A knock sounds at the door. A clerk leans in with a printout. Supervisor, she says, we found 2 spoofed calls to the victim's number today, both from the same VoIP account used to confirm addresses. It belongs to MR, the air chills. The senior takes the page. He reads it once. His eyes harden in a way the room has not seen yet. He speaks to the younger officer without looking away from the paper. Seal this, he says. Now. He turns to her again, and for the first time his voice is gentle. You will ride in the front, he says. You will sleep tonight. Tomorrow you will come back and tell the same truth. Word for word, she nods. Her hands shake once and then go still. They leave the room together. The camera in the corner finally blinks, one small red flash like a late apology. The hall smells like old coffee again. Outside, the night has thinned toward morning. The senior walks ahead. The younger walks beside her. The older follows quiet, listening to a code in his head that is finally breaking. Dawn is thin and gray when they drive back. The streets are sleepy, like the city forgot to breathe all night. She sits in the front seat beside the younger officer. The senior drives. The older officer follows behind in another car, quiet now, a small shape in a bigger mirror. No one talks. The heater hums soft. She keeps her hands on her knees. The red marks on her wrists fade from fire to ember. Outside, the sky begins to turn the color of paper before ink. They stop in front of her building. The senior scans the street once, slow. No silver car. No dark car. Just bins, fog, and a cat that looks bored by human drama. He nods. We go in, he says. They enter. The lobby camera's red light tries to blink and fails. The stairwell smells like cold dust. On the second floor, her door waits like an eye that did not blink all night. The brown package still sits by the mat, wearing its red word, return. The senior raises one hand. Do not touch it, he says. He puts on gloves and kneels. He tilts the package. There is a soft slide inside, then stillness. He listens, nothing. He taps. A thin beep answers and dies. Tracker? The younger officer asks. Maybe, the senior says. Or just a cheap toy with a dying heart. Either way, it is not hers. He looks up at her. We will take it as evidence. He stands and unlocks the door with her key. They step inside. The room smells like last night's fear and old paper. The lamp is cold. The fan is still. The boxes are open. The wrong letters wait like small lies around her feet. She walks to the window. She opens it a little. Fresh air comes in. She unhooks the curtains and lets morning in. It pours over the floor like quiet water and turns the mess into something she can touch. Sit, the senior says. Drink water. He pours a glass and sets it down. She sips. The first swallow feels like truth. Plain, clear, real. The younger officer begins to film with his phone. He narrates simple. Date, time, address, items in view. The senior opens a new evidence bag and slides the wrong letter folder inside. He takes the thin gray receipt, the stack of almost name envelopes, the small sticky note with MR on it, and the print of the blurred label. Each piece makes a soft sound like a page agreeing to speak. The older officer stands in the doorway. He looks smaller than the night made him. He clears his throat. The words do not come. He nods once to the room, which is not an apology but is not nothing. The younger officer whispers, May I move the chair? She nods. He sets the fallen chair upright. He gathers her own letters, the right side pile, and places them in a neat stack. He does it with care, as if order is a kind of medicine. The senior walks to the table. He finds her notebook and opens it. On the top page, last night's list sits there. Laundry, study, call mom, buy bread. He stares at it a moment. The smallness of it feels like a lighthouse in a storm. He pulls out his portable recorder and clicks it on again. Statement, he says. He speaks slow and clear for the record, but also for her. We entered the residence at dawn. Items gathered. Subject released earlier. Unlink request and audit opened. Possible abuse of quick match template by user MR under review. Evidence of spoofed calls linked to same account. Investigation active. Subject to be treated as witness and assisted. He clicks pause. The room exhales with him. A knock comes. Not hard, a normal knock. The post lady stands in the hall with a small bundle. Her eyes widen when she sees the officers. I came early, she says. A letter for 2B. Real name, real number. She looks at the brown package in the senior's hands. That one still haunting you? Not for long, the senior says. The post lady leans toward the doorway and lowers her voice. You know, she says, pointing to the door tags, maintenance messed up the metal numbers 2 months ago. The bolts, cheap. Some doors looked like 2.8 if the light hit. She taps her temple. Human eyes also do OCR when they are tired. She smiles sadly and leaves. The senior closes the door and locks it. He turns to her. We can help you file for record correction, he says. We can add a note that flags any future mix-ups with the almost name. You will get a copy, she nods. She is listening, but her eyes are on the ledger photo the younger officer set on the table. 2 lines, 2B and 2.8, same day, same initials. Coffee stain like a small, dirty sun. She takes a pen and circles the stain. This, she says, is how it starts. A small stain, a tired hand, a hurry. Then the night becomes long. The senior says nothing. He lets the truth sit on the table without fighting it. He fills out a receipt for the evidence and hands her a copy. She reads every line. She signs. The pen does not shake this time. Will you sleep? The younger officer asks. She looks around the room. The floor is messy, but she can clean a floor. The air is heavy, but she can open a window. The truth is thin, but it is here now and not hiding. Yes, she says. But first I will fix something. She gets tape and a plain white card. On it, with a black marker, she writes 4 short lines. The letters are bold and simple. She sticks the card near the door where eyes must pass. Check the code, ask for proof, write it down, call a lawyer. The younger officer reads it and nods. The senior reads it and nods slower. The older officer reads it and his jaw moves like a person learning a new word. The senior gathers his coat. We will send 2 people to sit outside tonight, he says. Quiet, unmarked, you will not see them, but they will be there. Is that necessary? She asks. Until I am sure, he says. He leaves the brown package on the table a moment and dials a number. Evidence pickup, he says into the phone. Priority, he gives the address. He gives the code. He says the code twice, careful. B like B, 8 like 8. The words sound like they snap into their right places. The younger officer asks, Do you want me to sweep the basement now? The senior thinks. No, he says. Not without the tech. We do it clean. He turns back to her. We will come at noon. We will bring you coffee. We will read the rest of the letters together. We will put your name in the system where it belongs and take it out from where it does not. Thank you, she says. The words are small but heavy. They land in the room and stay. He smiles without his mouth. Only his eyes change. Keep your phone on, he says. Keep the app that records. He looks at the older officer. And you sign off the custody note. You will also sign the camera ticket. We fix what is broken. The older officer nods. He takes a pen. He writes his name slowly like a person who wants each letter to earn its place. A soft engine sound comes from the street. Evidence pickup. 2 techs climb the stairs with a case. They label the brown package and seal it. One tech holds it to his ear like a seashell. It's chattering inside, he jokes. Or maybe it's just old wires. Either way, the senior says, it doesn't get to talk here. They carry it out. The room feels lighter by one ghost. The senior checks the locks and hands her the key. You are safe, he says. He does not promise forever. He promises now. It is enough, they leave. The door closes. She stands in the quiet, listening to the new kind of silence, one with edges she can understand. She cleans. She stacks the right letters. She ties the wrong letters with a string and places them in a separate box labeled Not Me. She sets the plant in the sun. The plant glows a little like a green yes. Her phone buzzes. A message from Mom. How are you? She types back, Long night, I'm okay. I will call soon. She adds a heart. She adds no details. She will tell it in person when her voice is ready. On the table, the statement copy the senior left waits for her signature. She reads the last line again. Subject treated as witness. Record correction in process. Audit initiated. She signs next to it. The ink dries fast. She sits on the floor and breathes. She thinks of the post lady in her hands, quick and careful. She thinks of the landlord, scared but honest. She thinks of the younger officer, eyes clear for the first time. She thinks of the older officer, a man who met a wall and decided to stop pushing. She thinks of the senior who did not run, who made the night slow down until truth could catch up. The sun lifts higher. The city starts. Someone laughs in the hall. A door closes. A radio plays a happy song in a far kitchen. Life returns to its usual small noises. She stands and looks at the card by the door again. The 4 lines look brave. They look like instructions for a world that forgets. She takes one more piece of tape and adds a 5th line at the bottom, smaller, only for herself. Tell the story. She picks up her phone. She checks the saved recordings. She names the file, The Truth They Tried to Hide. She sets the phone on a small stand. She faces the window so the morning light fills her eyes. She presses record. Her voice is soft at first, then steady. She stands in her living room. She says, third person like always. It is morning now. The room is the same, but she is not. Outside, a siren passes and keeps going. It does not stop at her door. Inside, her voice grows. It moves with the light. It turns the night into a map. It turns a code into a lesson. It turns a mistake into a warning. It turns a witness into a narrator. She does not whisper, she does not shake. She tells it all.